We're staying in our interface.dwg file, and in this video we're going to take a look at dialog boxes and palettes and how we utilize those in AutoCAD. Now, dialog boxes have been around for a long time. Dialog boxes are basically input boxes that you have in a Windows-based application. Now, a typical dialog box would be the text style dialog box in AutoCAD. So go to the Home tab on the ribbon, go to the annotation flyout here, like so, click on it and select the A with the paintbrush there, that little icon there. That will open up a text style dialog box. And as you can see there, you've got various inputs that you can utilize to set up, manage and manipulate your text styles. So you can see at the moment the current text style is standard. So what I can do here is I can change the settings of that standard text style. I can change the font by going to the drop down menu, like so. I can change the font style. If it was a true type font, let's say we go for something like Verdana. Let's change it to that. Notice you can change the font style in the drop down. For example, I can make it annotative by clicking on the little tick box, what they call the radio button there, and I can change the height by inputting a value. I can have other tick boxes, other values, and so on. I can also set this as the current text style, or I can click on it, open up another dialog box. You can see I've changed that current style. Do I want to save the changes? No. And then it will prompt me for the new text style name. I'll just cancel that for the moment. Now, as you can see, that's a dialog box with the title bar at the top and the little icon there, top left. And I can apply those changes, cancel those changes. I can even click on help if I want to, and it'll open up the help screens about text styles. But I can't change much with the dialog. I can drag it around and so on, and that's about it. I can't dock it anywhere. I can move it to a different screen if I had a separate screen, but that's about it. So that's how a dialog box works. You can also resize them. You can drag along the edges like that if you need to, at the bottom, like so. But they always have a minimum size. So if I click on the diagonal, can you see there? I can drag that out, but it'll always go to a default size, like so. So I'll click on cancel. That's your dialog boxes in AutoCAD. What about a palette? Now, a palette is very different. A palette is AutoCAD specific. It's not Windows specific. And that's where it gets a bit interesting. Now, you might think that I'm waxing lyrical just about dialog boxes and palettes, but these are your day-to-day interface tools, and you'll be using them on a daily basis. And I want to make sure that we cover all the intricacies of dialog boxes and palettes. Staying in the Home tab on the ribbon, go to the Layers panel and click on Layer Properties. That will open up the Layer Properties Manager palette. Now, as you can see, lots more tools available. I've got all my settings for the Layer Properties Manager here. I can change all the settings for the palette in there. I can search for a layer. Got a search tool. I can invert my selection here if I want to. I've got a little drop-down menu for different configurations of my layers. I've also got my little toolbar here that allows me to work and configure those layers. But let's just get back to the palette itself. I can click and drag like I can a dialog box. I can go to the default minimum size. There it is. Hover over the corner again. Get that little diagonal arrow appearing and click and drag, and I can make it bigger again. I can also drag up and down, just like you can a dialog box. So if I hover, sorry, that's clicked into the drawing there. Let me just click away and hit escape a couple of times. And then what we'll do is we'll just hover there. Can you see the little arrows appear? Click and drag like so. Sometimes you'll find that AutoCAD does an autosave behind a palette or a dialog box, and you just have to hit escape a couple of times because AutoCAD thinks you're doing something away from the palette or the dialog box. Now, there's also these tools here. You'll notice a palette has a vertical title bar, and you've got some little tools on it here. Now, these are common to all of the palettes. So if I click there and go to Properties, I can move it, size it, close it. I can dock it. I can anchor it left or right on the screen. I can switch the auto hide on, which means basically it only shows the title bar. When I hover over it, it appears again. Click on the properties, switch off the auto hide, and now it's back on all the time. Now, the other setting I can set when I click on those properties is transparency. So I can change the transparency of the palette. You can't do that with a dialog box. So as you can see, I can make it very clear where you can hardly see it, or it can be solid. And if I have got a transparency there, I can then change the rollover so it's then solid. Can you see that? So if I OK that for a moment, Can you see it's solid when I'm hovering over it? Move away, goes transparent, like so. So I can change those properties very quickly and easily. What I am going to do is set that back to solid, and click on OK. And then it's back to the where it was before. So you see there are some subtle differences there between dialog boxes and palettes. You'll be using them all the time. Use the settings to your advantage in your interface. If you want that auto hide on with your palette, switch it on. All that kind of stuff, transparency, etc. I'm now going to close the Layer Properties Manager, and that's very quick and easy. I can click on the cross there, or you'll notice the icon is highlighted in the Layers panel. If I click on it again, just switches it off again, like so. So palettes, when they're on, will highlight blue in the ribbon. And if you go to the View tab, you'll notice there's lots of different palettes here that we can be using. So you've got properties, blocks, count, and so on. And you'll notice we've got various ones here: Design Center, Layer Properties. If I do that, can you see it's blue there? Click there on the palettes panel, switches it off again. There's also function keys in AutoCAD that allow you to do that. I can't remember all of those. I tend to use the ribbon now. But again, it just switches those palettes off and on within AutoCAD. Make sure you go back to the Home tab, and that's your dialog boxes and palettes covered.